Welcome to the Loan Analytics Stress Test Analysis video using the LA Stress STA application. During this video, you will learn how to use the LA Stress STA application to compile your 3-year stress test analysis. We will now go to the application. You will enter the report name, the name of your association, your capital, general allowance, specific allowance, risk-adjusted assets, and the percent of unfunded commitments you will use in your analysis. We'll click Setup, PD Select. You will select greater than and equal to and enter the earnings date. The same for the balance sheet date. You will select greater than or greater than and equal to for your interest on term debt and principal on term debt. We're selecting this criteria to qualify the date and completeness of the financial information being imported into the application. You can select to migrate by volume or number. Go to PD segment. You will enter your top 6 industry names or groups of industries along with the corresponding industry code. You can group industry codes by selecting the group number. In this case, 115 will be grouped with 116. PD risk, you enter the name of your PD ratings along with the corresponding probability of default percents. You can select to exclude the top 3 PD ratings in the analysis. PD cards, you will enter the weight and attributes for solvency, liquidity, and capacity. You may also include credit score in your scorecard. You can select the solvency ratio. You can select the liquidity ratio. And you can select the capacity ratio for each of the scorecards. Go back to Setup. Select LGD segment. You will enter the name of your collateral types along with the corresponding collateral codes. As with the industries, you can group collateral codes. LGD risk. You would enter the definition or name of your LGD ratings along with the corresponding loss given default percents. LGD cards, you will enter the range for your LGD ratings for each of your different collateral types. Go back to the main screen. You would import your data extract in. After you import the data extract, click STA. You will click the PD stress button. You will enter your stress scenarios for year 1, year 2, year 3. You can enter the percent fixed rate debt for each of the 3 years. You can select the magnitude of the stress for year 1, year 2, year 3. You can change or select yes to create extract when processing data. It will open a new workbook and copy each of the 3-year stress migration matrices and scenarios along with your scorecards that you're using to document your stress. I'm going to click PD matrix. We're going to refresh the scenario. The application is now processing the 3 years of stress scenarios, and it will take us to the PD matrix screen when completed. It'll show the migration for year 1, year 2, and year 3 based on the stress scenarios. Click STA. We'll show the change in the allowance based upon this PD stress. We'll go to the LGD stress. We'll enter the stress for year 1, year 2, year 3. we'll say yes, we want to create extract when processing. We'll go to the LGD matrix. We'll refresh the data. Now we're going to create the stress for year 1, year 2, year 3, showing the migration of the LGDs. Go back to our STA screen, and we can see the change in the allowance based upon both PD and LGD stress. We'll click growth. We can enter the projected growth the first three years and enter the projected runoff for year 1, 2, and 3. We'll enter the average LGD percent. That corresponds with the LGD rating for the growth for year 1, 2, 3. We also need to enter the risk weighting of the growth and the risk weighting of the runoff to be used to calculate the permanent capital ratio. We also report on the screen the maximum runoff that you can put in so you don't run off more than what you have in your portfolio. Click STA. We can enter an adjustment to the charge-off. If we enter a negative adjustment, we're going to reduce the charge-off. Let's say we're going to look at some recoveries. We can enter a positive or increase the charge-off and say the analysis doesn't include fraud, and we're going to increase our charge-offs. We're going to go down, and we can enter our earnings before provisions for the 3 years. We can enter any patronage distribution that you may want to distribute or recognize in your analysis, or any additional funding to the bank, to your funding bank. You can enter any additional allowance to losses. The $13 million here is projected charge-offs. If you want to add additional allowance, you would enter that in there. If we add this provision and additional bank transfer, we can see that by doing that, the capital ratio goes down. The same with if we add additional allowance, the capital ratio or capital will go down. So in this analysis, we compile our 3 years. We can see the change in the capital ratio, and then we can scroll down and also see the change in credit quality acceptable, going from 97 to about 70% on that 3rd year. We can also quickly look at a reverse stress. What would it take for that capital ratio to go down to close to regulatory capital from the 9.25 down? What we're going to do is we're going to go back to the PD stress screen, and we're going to do an additional stress on non-current assets. Instead of 10% that 3rd year, we're going to take it down 20%. And click the STA button, and we're going to recalculate the charge-off, and also then recalculate the capital ratio that 3rd year out. With that stress being applied, our capital ratio goes down to 8.84, but we need to apply that stress to collateral also, so we're going to take that 20% collateral stress that 3rd year. The first 2 years we go down 12%, we add another 20%, 32% stress over a 3-year period. I'm going to click STA again, and we'll refresh the data. We'll recalculate the projected losses, and thus we'll calculate the projected capital. So that 3rd year out, based upon a 32% reduction in collateral values and asset values over the 3-year period, goes down to 7.53%. I can click print, I can click extract to document my stress scenarios. I'm going to go back to the main screen. Thank you for joining me for this video. I hope it was helpful.